So, how's your morning going up till now? It's noontime, and two boys from Brooklyn want to serve you a huge portion of humor for lunch. So break out the lunch pail or the sandwich you packed and let Les and Freddie ask bring you jokes and nostalgia mixed in with important information about medicine, food, dating, or just the stuff you need to help that bagel go down nice and smoothly. And if you have a story about anything you want to share, a bad date, movie review, or just the strangest thing that happened to you at work, call in and join the fun toll-free at 1-800-889-0267. Right now, sit back and let's start the lunch break. Freddie S. and Les are ready, so here are the boys.
And good midday, America.
Wow.
And in your picture, you have Daisy Margarita. We need to talk about that, by the way.
What's going on with my name?
Apparently, you have a following
I
of
have
people.
following.
Yes. And all of a sudden, your people are contacting amp2.tv, where you can see the show, if I can get this thing straight. And apparently, they want to know why we stopped calling you Double D, because everybody said you're Daisy Dominican.
Yes.
Dominican Daisy, right?
Dominican Daisy, yes.
They did not even understand why in the world we were calling you Double D. So it goes to show you that you can continue to be called Double D. And we have to ask your husband, of course. But there's no reason why not.
Okay. That's
And
fine
it
with
seems
me.
it seems like everybody knows Double D as
Everybody's
Daisy.
here. People are calling me in the middle of the street, hey, Double D, and I'm like a little concerned about that, but it's okay.
Nah, don't be concerned. Honey. That's your that's your trade. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some shirts made up.
Double D.
Why would you be
Just
concerned
gonna
about
say-
being called Double D? It's memorable.
That's
People are
right.
accepting it, and it gives you something to stand out with.
Let's just step out in the room.
That's right. Let's
Listen,
just get
Vixen is
I
anybody
think Vixen
could be
is
called a
perfect for
Vixen.
you.
I
Is
was
that a
always-
tree hugger?
Or I was used to be called Showbiz. That worked also, or just Goody.
This is the reason I use that tree hugger line for a reason. We'll get to that in a second. Lady sitting next to you. But anyway, we want to say happy midday.
Happy midday. It's
To
Thursday.
Double D.
It's Throwback Thursday. We're going to do
Throwback
it.
Thursday. That's the song you heard before. And we have Behind the Glass, the broad Behind the Glass. What music was that?
It's called Big 70s Disco Theme Number 2.
You couldn't get specific. You had to give me the whole 70s disco.
What happened exactly in
It's
that moment? That
Royalty free, man. It's generic.
Unbelievable.
I can't be
Unbelievable.
saying stuff. Because apparently I get in trouble. So,
That's
What
right.
do you
we
get
all
in
get
trouble
in trouble.
for?
You can't play.
I didn't know about
registered
this
music.
Connecticut. You never get in trouble in,
Oh,
my
Connecticut-
neighborhood.
And you started the show very quickly today. I wasn't even ready.
sorry.
I know. You're good today.
We have to
You're,
go the air.
you're
we have to
energetic, and I know why. And of course, we have the Vixen. Wow, I see that you left your hair the same way.
I
So-
like it.
Hey.
This is,
Don't change it.
honestly, this is called walk out of the shower and go, because my kids are home from school today, and
Aw.
it's Purim, as we said. So
Yeah. She comes in looking all hot now, or
And then she mentioned her kids.
not here today.
soaking wet my head is. But you know what? On Purim, I know we have a guest that you're going to announce, but Purim is all about costumes and warlocky and witchery and all that kind of fun stuff, which can be a good segue to
That's
an
a nice
introduction.
segue, yes. You're on the ball today. But anyway, let's thank our sponsors, amp2.tv, 866-224-5422. Call us, and we will make your dreams come true.
Wow.
Lesson, health and wealth seminars. I don't know Les's number.
Yes, I do
You
know.
do? All right, so you-
okay.
you-
954-303-9563. Health and wealth. Do you know what happens when you don't advertise?
Nothing.
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 That didn't sound good.
Nothing!
Okay, that's more like
I don't
less.
know where that came from, but that's
Nothing.
And we have the Pain Whisperer, Dr. Pinozo.
That's right.
561-381-5800.
That's
Go
right.
in there if you got a pain, jump in and leap out. Or
Any kind of pain.
limp in and jump out, or whatever it is that he does. But he's great. I'm going to tell you something about Dr. Pinozo.
Yes.
He took care of a bad foot for me,
Bad
and I
foot.
never forgot that.
I've been feeling a little
And
bit
I-
weird on my left foot.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's your
Maybe
hip.
the shoe
It's your hip.
or something I did at the gym.
It's your hip.
Something. Is my hip? Do you think it is?
Yeah, that's what it is for me. I have one hip higher than the other.
Ah, I'm going to go and check it out with Dr. Pinozo.
And you have your migraines?
I have one today as we speak. I'm feeling
C5.
feeling awful today.
No, on Thursday.
I heard you had migraines because in your younger days you used to be a very vixen, and you were in all sorts of positions and you hurt your back.
That's
Is that true?
That's supposed to cure.
Where did you hear
Lest you
story
liar.
like that?
Lest you liar.
She's a liar.
That's a dream fantasy, though. We can go with it.
Listen, we got some.
Listen, if you want to create some stories to make me a vixen, I'll roll with it.
She
Go
doesn't
with it.
mind. She doesn't mind. Let's go. Let's
with
tell
it.
the number from the studio so people.
Well, you're
get
sitting in
touch
the
with
chair.
us.
That's your job.
1-800-889-0267. We want to know what's going on out there. It's almost Friday.
Ow.
I'm just going to call it almost Friday,
Friday.
not Thursday. Forget about Thursday.
Exactly. It's almost Friday.
It's not
Today's
even
almost-
Thursday. It's Thursday. Is there a turd in the room?
He's not here
Tell
today.
you, I'm bringing in a turtle. Let me ask you a question. What do we have on? We have some good stuff going on today.
Yes, we're going to interview in a couple minutes a film director, a documentary about the letter F, and he's going to tell us what's going on with the letter F. Very interesting. Robert
Letter F.
Adante. Yes.
Like in Frank, letter F.
We don't know what he's talking about when we put together this film. The letter F, it could be many things.
You know,
There's
there was
a
the letter.
Foreplay?
There was,
Fat.
there was the letter L. I remember when that came out.
There's
Fantasy?
yes, fantasy.
The
Factual?
the vixen is on the
But
march.
but he's going to be talking about feminism.
Who's he?
Feminism. The letter F is a
Feminism.
big word now.
I can't even pronounce
I
that.
have very strong opinions about that.
No, no kidding. You got strong opinions about everything.
I know.
What is his name?
Robert Adanto.
Okay. And
So
you're
he's
gonna be
gonna
taking
be-
call-ins on that interview. Can we take call-ins when he's on the phone?
I don't think so.
No.
You don't know?
No.
We
We're
just have one line.
We're gonna try.
Or are we going to try?
Absolutely.
I'm
We're
gonna try
going
not to hang
on
up
where
on
no
them.
man has gone before.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try not to hang
Well,
up
I
on
gather
him.
we could call into a cell phone and then try to put it to a mic.
No, he's calling in. So the question is whether
No,
or
I
not
have
you
to
can
call
I
take
him.
calls.
got it. I'm saying he can call into
Can
the
you
cell
do
phone.
it?
Yeah, she's going to be calling Connecticut's going to be calling
I
him
think you could. You
like
have to put
in
him, maybe you have to
120
put him on
seconds.
hold.
Ah, we've tried this before. We tried it with Lisa. Don't you
Listen.
remember? We tried it with Lisa.
Yeah, but you're a different board up to that. You are.
You
She's
can do
brought
it.
up.
You're the
Boy,
man.
Bay is Mia. That's all I got to say.
You can do it.
Why?
Connecticut.
See, that's a perfect segue to feminism. Why is it that she's a different broad operator today and she's the man?
'Cause she's
right
experienced.
away. In other
Gotta go
words,
to a man's
she's.
side.
In other words, your underlying statement there is she's better
man,
today
man,
because
man,
she's
man,
a man,
Man,
right?
man, man,
Oh,
man,
I
man,
have a
man,
question.
man,
No one
man.
else caught that in the room, ladies?
Yeah.
I got to
No one
say
else
to you,
cares.
I became a board op the first day I was on the job with you guys, which
That's
was
right.
the first day of
That's
this.
right.
And remember how bad that was?
I saw
potential.
the greatness in you.
Did
yeah,
you then?
I saw the potential too.
And I'm working on a deal because do you know that I have to get permission to put you on film?
No,
Yes, I do know that.
I didn't know that.
They're called releases.
Oh, release,
no,
right?
no, not even that.
Who are
It's
we
you
releasing?
Because I'm an
belong to the
employee.
station, so I have to get permission.
I belong to the station.
Yeah.
That's
You should know
Because
that.
you're an employee from iHeartRadio.
That's right, baby. I'm an iHeart.
So
media
where there's
person.
good, there's always a door. But anyway, we'll get there.
True.
So
All right, so what are we going to do?
Yes,
you
is
wanna
he in
call
the
him?
line already?
Aren't we going to introduce our guest
Guest?
first, and then I can call him?
Yes, you ready to do that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All right. She's gonna
I
do
am very honored to introduce our guest in the studio. Her name is Lady Ray Blackhood. She is of the coven Leah Fail. They are located in Boca Raton, Florida, and she is the Wiccan High Priestess of British traditional Wicca.
interesting.
Sounds so English.
No,
I've
I'm
been
not-
reading all about witchery all night because I think it's fascinating.
Well, this lady here
Thank
is one of the tops, and I know she's not going to want me to say that, but she's get that microphone to
Well, I
the
think
other
it'll be
side
interesting
of you so
to
we can see your
discuss-
face. No, move the whole arm. There you go, right there.
How about that?
I think it'll be
That's
interesting to discuss the differences between witchery and ESP.
Well, you
and-
weren't here for the
ESPN.
you weren't here for the briefing, so you have to be very careful because you'll walk out of here like a duck.
That's right. I don't
I
mind.
Very
don't
careful.
think so. But one of the things that brought me to Wicca originally was feminism.
That's right.
I went from a God-based religion, and it never occurred to me that there could be a goddess in the room.
Isn't a lot of it about sort of following Satan? though? Is it not?
Oh, absolutely
Absolutely
not.
But
Nothing
then when
to
you
do
read
with-
about witchery
No,
and
that's
following
man-made.
witchery,
All that stuff is
That's a
man-made.
myth.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
it sells books.
Christian mythos.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because
Very
the Christians
interesting.
used to say if you walk into this huge building they used to build and you don't believe in it our way, you go to hell. And that was a great way of teaching paganism out the door. And
Right.
most of the things we do, like holding up two fingers behind, all those symbols. I used to date somebody, and it was
You
really,
actually had a
really,
date?
Really, once, just once, just once. Linda.
Well, there's something about regarding, I don't remember the name, the Inquisition? Yes.
Spanish Inquisition.
Well,
when
that's
they
Yes.
hung
during
people
times
upside down.
and Salem
And they thought it was
1600s.
Satan, it was
Right.
evil, and they wanted to kill everybody who was even a descendant of a witch.
Well, and they defined the witches. I mean, witches were
That's right.
not didn't define themselves. It was the people that got involved in the Christian or the one God guy religions that said,
Fix your mic, you darling.
okay, I'm sorry, that said that if you don't believe in the way we do, then you're a witch, you're a devil worshiper,
You
and
gotta
you're
burn.
going to go to hell.
And the penalty for that was death. So
Death,
which is worse.
exactly.
Hanging. Wasn't it
Which is
hanging by death?
worse. No, they
Yeah.
they burned you.
Oh, they burned them at the stake. That's right.
You know,
Or
just
they
hanging.
drowned you.
In the Jewish culture, we don't believe in hell, so it's a different kind of.
The Jewish culture, you only believe in Jews.
No, not
Yeah,
true.
it's very true.
Well, everybody.
I heard
was,
you two going.
well,
did
everybody.
you watch the show that we
yes,
did yesterday?
everybody was born Jewish, and then there were
I
things
know.
that
I feel Jewish. I had.
We divided.
that divide, and you
Yeah,
and you have different
Protestant,
formats. But even in the Jewish
Christians.
culture, you have that because you have Orthodox and Conservative and Reformed. And,
Exactly.
Listen,
you know.
circumcision is out of the Jewish religion.
Correct.
Okay, so
Well,
I'm part Jew.
There you go.
to defend Les' comments from yesterday, they have a big party in the island of Palm Beach, and they were in the Shiny Sheets. Shiny Sheets is a very important paper in Palm Beach Island, and they were putting in the front page. They were putting together the whole. So I said, "Oh, this is what Les is talking about." You know, the perm.
Purim, yes.
Perm, yes.
And the perm.
Yes.
I saw it all
Purim
on
is
Facebook.
about giving. It's
Right.
a lot about giving.
Exactly. It was very interesting. They put it in the front
Plenty of
page.
you. All right, listen, we got your guest on.
Yes.
So why don't we introduce?
Yes, we have on the line independent documentary filmmaker Robert Adanto. Hello, are you there, Robert?
I am. How's it going?
Thank you so much for being with us today, and tell us a little bit who you are first. I want you to know my co-workers, Liz
Good morning, good afternoon.
Hi,
Good
Liz.
morning, good evening, good night.
and Freddie.
How are you,
Hey,
Rob?
Freddie. How are you?
Nice to meet you too.
So tell us a little bit about who you are first, so everybody gets to know you.
Okay, I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I'm now living in Fort Lauderdale. I went to NYU for graduate school, but I've been living here the last 4 years after moving back from New York to LA, and I've been making documentary films about contemporary art for the last 10 years. And the latest film is called The F Word, and it's about radical feminist fourth wave performance. And I've been screening it across the country, and it's going to be screening again in Miami. We screened it during Art Basel, but it was I was invited to screen it at Boca, Miami on April 23rd.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about this movie, the letter F. Everybody's, when you mention the letter F, you're thinking about everything else but feminism.
Yes. It's a film that I began in 2013 and finished in September. And I've interviewed 14 fourth wave feminists, meaning artists who are of the latest generation. In fact, the term itself, fourth wave, hasn't really even been adopted formally. There's been some writings on it, but
Can I
these
interrupt
women-
you just to ask you to explain what that means?
Sure. Okay. We all know that the first wave were the suffragettes in the late 1900s, early 20th century. Largely, they were fighting for the right to vote, to own property, to have basic rights. Then you have the second wave, which came about in the late 60s and early 70s, and those were women that gave birth to now. They're Gloria Steinem, Bella Abzug,
Awesome.
and third wave largely began in the early 90s, and it was a response to the second wave because many people of that generation, the third wave, believe that second wave only really took into account the wants and desires of white middle-class women.
But wouldn't
So,
you say we're actually going through another feminist revolution now?
I'm not certain it's a revolution, but it's a different iteration. It's one that's largely based, the internet plays a large role with this generation. This is a generation of women who grew up with the internet. They didn't get an email when they were 25 or 35. They've grown up with the internet and technology. They've also kind of embraced the sex positivism. Not all of them across
Right.
the
Well,
board.
that was my point. Now it seems to me women, or the young girls of today in their 20s, they're much more empowered than, I mean, I'm in my late 40s, and we were sort of the first generation that was taking a stand and getting those jobs, but, not quite getting equal rights and not being as open sexually and until later in our life. But the young girls in their 20s now, it's very much about fighting for a day off for their menstruation and fighting for everything equal and being, I think, much more empowered and open about sexuality. And I think part of what we're also seeing is that women are cheating more or at least equal to men in marriages, and I think a lot of that's a result of them owning their femininity now in a way that it wasn't done in the past.
And they feel entitled somehow. I feel like they feel entitled. It's my right, and that's it. What do you think about that, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's true, but it's not true for all of them. I wouldn't want to speak for them. But I do feel that there is a clear distinction from women that are in their late 40s to this generation. But they still have to fight for a lot of the same things. It's not as if they're getting paid equally to men. I just read yesterday that...
No, they're not.
No, they're not. So Djokovic is actually, the male star of tennis, kind of made a really strong statement and said that the women champions should be getting paid as much as the men when we have these, big Miami Opens. Because right now, the men are still getting paid more than the women, even at that elite level. Even the
Wasn't there an
Williams.
actor recently on a film who demanded that his female co-stars make what he's making, earn what he's earning? I forgot who that was.
Yeah, there's a couple of actors that have said the same thing. I can't
think either.
Yeah, I can't think of their names. And several younger women. The woman who won the Academy Award 2 years ago, she's like 20-something. Her co-star in that movie, that kind of one where it takes place in the 70s, and, it had the guy that played Batman the last 3 years. He was her husband.
Ben Affleck?
I watch Disney
No,
movies
not Ben
right
Affleck.
now.
Earlier, The Dark Knight.
Okay.
The Dark Knight. The British guy who blows up all the time.
Okay, yeah, Christian Slater?
Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale.
What was that movie where he had a hairpiece and he had a belly? And it won Best Picture.
That was a
It
couple
won
years
Best
ago.
Picture 2 years ago.
Come on, girlfriend, you're on the tech board. Who is it?
The letter F is a drama. What is it that we're going to be watching?
It's kind of a comedy. It's about people who cheated and lied. Robert De Niro's in it. He plays an Italian mafia guy.
Oh, so it's not a reality. It's based on reality.
It was
it's
a
not
fictional movie. It was a fictional movie with Christian Bale. The young girl. She was nominated again this
I
year.
thought we were talking about your
yes.
film now, the letter F.
No, but your
the
film...
F word is a documentary. Yeah.
Your
And
film is a drama. It's a comedy. What is it?
It's a documentary. It's
But
a non-fiction documentary.
In terms of documentary,
something that's
just
going
to answer you, to help you get the answers you're looking for, Daisy. I've directed quite a few documentaries. I had a similar life to you, as in terms of just having to try what I call the triangle life. From Florida to LA to New York, it's like creating that triangle move constantly. But
so it's like a
documentary
reality.
in terms of style. Are you doing a documentary where you're just letting the story tell and or are you interviewing them?
I'm doing interviews, but I'm not a Michael Moore style. I'm not in the film. I don't have narration. I don't present it as this is the answer. It's not a political film. It's more of a mosaic. I've allowed 14 women who are artists who have identified themselves as fourth wave feminists. And then I have 4 scholars, Dr. Kathy Batista, who's the head of contemporary art at the Sotheby's Institute in New York. I have another woman who was one of the lead editors of Art in America, Nancy Princenthal. Another woman who teaches at the New School, a class on fourth wave feminism, and they offer kind of a contextual, what are the ideas that fourth wavers are, exploring, people that have written about it. And I just kind of allow women to speak, and I show their artwork, and it's very provocative.
I was looking at your Facebook, and it's very interesting what the pictures, what you're showing before the people more or less know what they're going to be expecting in the movie. It's a little bit, how would you say that? Striking?
Yeah, it's provocative work.
Provocative, exactly.
It's strong. All the women in the film use their body in their work. They're either performing live or they're performing in videos that they've written and directed, and some are in films. Another part of this film for fourth wave artists is they embrace porn. They're making their own pornography,
Whoa.
which something that second wave or women of your generation would never do. There was a big movement in the 80s and 90s, which is explored in the documentary, the anti-porn movement. They've said, look, if it's a women filmmaker, a women producer, and the women in the film have agency, there's no problem with making
Wow.
a feminist porn. And that's a big part of the film. I encourage everyone to come and see it, because everywhere we've gone, there's been a great conversation.
So where are you showing it next?
Saturday I'm showing it in Connecticut,
Woohoo.
and then Tuesday I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Then I'll come back, and I'm showing my other film, which is about Iranian female artists, in Boca Raton at FAU. That's on April 7th. And then I'll be showing the F Word again at Miami at the Mocha Miami.
Well, you certainly picked a wonderfully provocative title to get some great press off.
I agree.
And that's
Yes.
it was a very smart move.
Yeah, it came about from the interviews, meaning for many of the women I interviewed, they grew up believing that feminism was the F word. It was something that they weren't supposed to identify with, because it's become a dirty word.
It has. It's become a negative instead of what it is.
Fox
which is
News has just made it. What does it mean?
Right.
No one wants to say there, but this generation is proudly saying, no, we consider ourselves feminists.
What day is going to be showing Mocha?
Saturday, April 23rd,
23rd. At what time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And if we want more information about who you are and more about the film, where do we go?
You can go to the website. It's the fwordflick.com. It's actually the F-word flick, FLICK.com.
Okay.
The fwordflick.com. There's also a Facebook page called the F Word, and my name is Robert Adanto.
Thank you so much for being with
Yeah.
us
Got
today.
a question?
Yeah, there's a
Robert.
bunch
Oh,
of
we
press.
have-
If you were to go to Google News, there's been 2 reviews from the Huffington Post alone. There's been a couple of interviews on Dazed magazine, and a whole lot. So
Okay. We have a question, Connecticut?
No, it's not a question. I have the answer. It was Jennifer Lawrence, and you're talking about American Hustle, right?
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yes. Thank
I
you
was
so much,
hoping you'd
Connecticut.
find that.
She's like
yeah,
in
it
the
is
second
that
group.
movie.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, Robert, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I want to invite you back when you play at FAU again, maybe a couple of days before that, because that's right in our neighborhood.
Oh, that would be great.
And we'll talk a little bit more about it, and maybe you can get back to us to see what the outcome has been, since you're going to be showing it. I'm really intrigued, because you have a male doing something in that world.
Yeah.
That intrigues me. And
And
also the internet will speed up people to see this and get a hold of it. You know, this is like wildfire when you put it on there. So I'm really intrigued to see what happens.
I'm
next.
interested in
Thank
seeing
you.
the way he stylizes it also, and if it's going to be how you delve into their lives and how we see your visuals.
That's right. It's a whole
Well,
lot
please
of-
come and see it. There's an extended clip that's available online via if you look up the F Word, Robert Adanto, and Dazed, like Dazed and Confused, that magazine, there's an extended clip that introduces the section on porn, so you can get an idea of what it's like. Check it out.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Uh-huh.
you for coming on.
Have a good afternoon. Thank
You
you.
too.
You know, it's really great that you have Robert on today without less, because as soon as he hears the word porn, he would have a conversation about that whole thing.
I was not aware that there was some sort of a porn, like anti-porn movement.
There was.
It says in my generation, but maybe because I worked in the film industry at that time, and I was working on projects that were so close to.
I think it was-
Linda
that.
Lovelace started it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, when was that? That was the early 80s?
80s.
It was the 80s?
I thought it
That
was late 70s, early
I
80s.
thought it was
That's when it
70s.
was.
I mean, I don't think of that being my generation. My generation, I think of as 80s and 90s, and
no,
we
I-
were embracing.
By that time, the porn industry had died. Everybody died of AIDS. Plato's Retreat.
Well, maybe that's what it was,
Serious,
because
it's
when AIDS
true.
came about, people got very afraid
Afraid
of.
of
But you
Yeah.
know, in the porn industry, women make a lot more money than the men.
It's
Yeah.
true. They're more
And that's the
empowered.
one industry you don't want to make a lot more money.
but it was run by men.
No,
Yes.
there are also, yes, most
It
of it,
was run by
90%
men.
of it, but there was some female directors. And you know, Robert goes to my alma mater, NYU.
Okay.
And there's a lot of films in the porn industry that were filmed down at the Village.
But I think you hit the nail on the head, Freddie. I think the whole reason it died was not. Maybe I'm wrong because he's doing a documentary on it, and maybe it wasn't about feminism, but it was about the scare of AIDS. I think that was
course.
a big part of it. I don't think it had to do with
We could do a
feminism.
documentary and find out why everybody stopped doing porn.
Well, if you
in those
see, if you
days.
watch Boogie Nights, part of it was the advent of videotape.
Well,
brought
I
it.
did a documentary in the 90s that was called Sex with Strangers. And it was for Showtime. And it was at that time it was considered very, very risque.
Cool.
And we were trying to get funded by HBO at the time, but we couldn't get funded by them because they wouldn't go in that direction. And Showtime, if you
Cinemax.
remember, in the late 90s was when they were the first company that sort of started launching these really racy, almost X-like movies
See
to
more
change
butts.
their game to fight them, to compete with HBO.
Well, now you have Taxi Cab Confessions.
Well, that was the show I was
and
doing.
And in the back seat of that thing, they go buck wild.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's funny you bring that up because Taxi Cab, the guys Joe and Harry Gantz were my producers and directors. They were Taxi Cab Confessions, and the reason I was hired to produce Sex with Strangers is because a guy in Vegas picked up a woman in the taxi cab and they were talking about swinging. So the Gantz brothers decided that'd be an interesting topic for a movie. So they went to HBO, who was running Taxi Cab Confessions, which was their largest, most successful show for years and years and years, and asked them if they would do the story. And they said no. And Showtime, I think
picked it up.
Showtime picked
There
it
was
up,
an-
and
there
I
was
was brought into
another
the
there
job.
was another show with from the Point, Prostitutes from the Point, that was done on Showtime as well, which was Hunt Point.
It was
And they
pretty
were
sad.
showing-
That one's kind of sad though. And
Well, now
were-
they have Real Sex, which is an HBO show.
But the funny thing about that particular show is that they were showing how AIDS had affected the
yeah,
Point.
man.
Yes.
But then they had their own group. They had their own. Then after that documentary came out, they unified. All the prostitutes unified in there,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't do one interview unless all 10 of them.
In the same documentarian, he went to AC, Atlantic City, for that
Did he?
series. Yeah. I
How was
watched
that?
Sad. It's very sad, very lonely, and it's just sad. One lady was talking about how she was brought up very wealthy, and she got on drugs, and that was the end of that.
It's interesting because we do have to market things in the television industry, and when we did the Sex with Strangers film, it was all about the TNA. That was all that Showtime was looking to do. It wasn't about the story, and it wasn't about the reason why people necessarily follow that world and like get into it. And I'm like a news person, documentarian, so I always wanted to understand and interview my subjects. Why are you doing this? What compels you to want to be with multiple partners and all these different forms of
Right.
like swinging that existed? And I was actually taken off the project because of that. I ended up just being a
Wow.
field director, which is I'd go out in the field and I would actually direct these shoots. But
You remind me of this lady from Oprah. She's Oriental Fishers, and she's doing America, the new America documentaries.
Isn't that Lou?
Yes.
Yeah.
That girl, but
She's
she's more
fabulous.
into the news, whatever
Yeah.
is going on, and she goes inside the people, you know.
Okay, let's
take a break?
Let's take a hard break. Yeah, we're 4 minutes late. Let's take a hard break, and we'll see you on the other side.
Please welcome a new sponsor to the show. It's AMP2 TV, the first and only internet network that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet television production company, discover AMP2 TV, a full-service production company that can provide all streaming videos in studio or remotely. They offer web page development, and they use all the latest platforms to help make your business selling points more powerful. They can do remotes and live streaming, as well as tape productions. Let AMP2 TV handle all of your television production needs. Choose from a variety of creative TV and radio packages and see why AMP2 TV works with many major companies, including Comcast, Bravo, and Fox 29, as well as individuals and businesses of all types and sizes. To see samples of their work or to find out more, visit their website at amp2.tv. That's AMP, the number 2.tv. Or call them at 1-866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
Have you ever had a business idea that you thought would be a great solution to tough challenges in today's world, but have no idea how to get started? You don't want to waste investment money on ideas that just don't work. Introducing Health and Wealth Seminars, a sophisticated advertising agency with over 40 years in the ad business. What makes Health and Wealth different from other agencies is they fit your product into the public's need. They help put together the strategy of your business before you commit thousands of dollars and just find out those ideas just don't work. Health and Wealth Seminars carry advertising contracts, radio and television contracts, and even a production service contract that will cover all of your business needs. Call today 954-303-9563 and let Health and Wealth Seminars carry your business to the next level. The number is 954-303-9563. And remember that what happens when you don't advertise is nothing. 954-303-9563 is the number you need to get your business started in the right direction.
You're lunching with two boys from Brooklyn who invite you to advertise on the show. Share your good news. Just call 866-224-5422 and get all the information. There are plenty of options, and this could be a great chance to get the word out about your business or service. That's 866-224-5422. Now let's get back to those two boys from Brooklyn.
We're back.
I remember that.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that, Connecticut.
That was soul.
I feel like that was a porn song.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I remember that when I was at the Blue Theater.
What was the song they played in the movie? Was it what was the movie where he pulls his pants down and it was like a 70s movie, had Roller Girl in it?
Boogie Nights.
It was Boogie Nights. What
Late
was
90s.
What was the song that they played in that?
So many.
Not that one, not that one.
No. There's a strip dance song.
Let's take a look at the weather and traffic, sponsored by Dr. Anthony Penoso, 561-381-5800. Guaranteed to take care of the migraines on the first visit. 561-381-5800. It is a very warm and humid day in South Florida, and high temperatures will reach the low to mid 80s this afternoon. Clouds will continue to increase this afternoon, and so will the chances for rain. Winds will stay breezy out of the southeast. Tonight evening will be a little bit of rain, and we're going to have low 60s in the Palm Beach County coast. Winds will be light out of the southeast. And now let's take a look at the traffic. We have an accident on I-95 going south and Linton Boulevard, that's Delray Beach. In Broward, we have another accident, I-595 going east and I-95, and we have the police already taking care of this accident. This weather and traffic update is sponsored by Dr. Anthony Penoso, 561-381-5800.
And I'm supposed to talk about Dr. Penoso,
Yes.
the pain whisperer. 561-381-5800. Watch Dr. Penoso's show on Sundays from 11 to 12. And he will take care of your migraines. You see, you're going to take Advil, which is the worst thing in the world.
That's all I can do, babe.
No, you could take aspirin. Dr. Penoso
Aspirin
says
doesn't help
take
me.
aspirin only.
Aspirin for migraines?
Aspirin for migraines.
Aspirin upsets your stomach, doesn't it?
I don't know. Take one, we'll find out. But anyway, that's 561-381-5800. I don't know. What do I look like, a doctor?
My father told me that once. No, don't take aspirin. No, don't take because
Your
it's
father
gonna-
told you that once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only one time?
Yeah, he told me that,
Don't
and I
take
never took it. I take by advice of my father, really.
And,
The thing
and
is, when you get a migraine, which I have right now, you just want to keep your glasses on because the light.
yeah, well, keep in mind. Go
really
ahead. Yeah, we know
bothersome.
you were doing dope last night. It's okay.
The rock stars used to go to the interviews like that. The rock stars,
So I'm going to
remember?
put you on the air right now, Am2.tv. You can watch Liz with her glasses because she is migrained out. And Gio, no, Mr. Freddie Fix-It is not a pornographic king, but I did see my share of porn when I was in college. Matter of fact, I
In
took a...
college, not
It's
just
true.
like 2 minutes.
Everybody's
Do
watching.
you know,
left the
there used to
house.
be a theater on 181st Street in Manhattan.
Sure.
And I took a course at NYU.
Oh, and you had to do
about how
research.
pornography... Absolutely. I went to Plato's Retreat and everything.
To do research.
I shot at Plato's Retreat
I'm pretty sure you did.
numerous times.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Many
That's why you
people
wear-
shot.
That's why you wear sunglasses today. But anyway,
I
went
didn't
to
say
all
I
these
was there
things,
having fun. I said I shot there.
and I came out of the movie theater one day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, we had to take notes about different things. My aunt sees me when I come out of the movie
Lord,
theater.
yeah.
And she says, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm doing research." Research? I have my books and everything with me. She said, "Research? This is a..." I says, "I know what it is." She looked at me. She just walked away. Told my parents. My parents says, "Can we sit down and
Oh,
have a chat?"
come on.
I said, "Look at the
How
class
old
I'm
were you?
taking." I must have been 19.
So you were of
19.
age.
Yeah, you were of
okay.
age.
But it was really a class that I took at NYU. Something Sex in the City or something.
Sex in the City. I like that.
That's an HBO show.
Yes,
That's
I
all
know.
genre.
I'm copying it. Thank you very much. Only you would say that. Thank you very
Speaking
much.
of which, I used to always be called, what's her name, Sarah Jessica Parker, because
Oh, the hair?
the hair.
Oh, I love her.
Your hair looks like Sarah Jessica
Well,
Parker.
now I've lost half my hair, but when I was younger, my hair was that big, and it was so I'd walk out and I'd either be called
Okay.
Jennifer
all
Aniston or
right.
Sarah Jessica.
You know what? Stop doing drugs at night. But let's continue because I want
Yes,
to
we
get
have
into
a
this
guest,
interview. Yeah, I know.
Very
Let's-
interesting guest.
Talking about all sorts of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody remember her name?
Yes, ma'am. Lady
What is-
Ray.
Lady who?
Lady Ray.
Lady Ray.
Lady Ray, yes.
Lady Ray. Now, we brought you into studio because I do another show with your daughter
Okay, yes.
on Monday nights, and you have to go to am2.tv to find out where it is because they won't let me say it over there.
Oh, my.
It's a medical show, but she told me something very interesting about what you do.
And what was that?
She says that you're a pagan princess or goddess. What are you, a goddess?
No, I'm a priestess.
A priestess?
A priestess.
With the meestess, with the mostest.
Yes, and I'm a witch priestess, a
Oh,
wicked,
oh,
a
she
wicked
said-
priestess.
Oh, that's right. A wicked priestess.
Yes.
And I have everybody that is. Here they go. No, you can't ask questions until we interview her. So tell me what it is you do.
Okay. I run a group, and a group is called a coven in Boca. I teach classes, and at the end of the class, you can choose to be initiated or not. And initiation brings you into the fold. It would be like maybe a christening.
At a lake?
No.
Wrong-
Not dunking
wrong
anybody
religion.
in water.
We don't,
You don't
Well,
use water. Do you use water?
yes,
Okay.
yes, we do. We have to go through the elements, which is earth, air, fire, and water.
Okay.
So all of those elements come together to get you ready for your initiation.
But what are you praying to? Like, what is your, if it's not Satan, you said it's not, you said that's just a fallacy. So what is it that,
In the mic, lady.
I'm sorry, what is it that makes being a witch, following a witchery culture, unique or different from other religious-based, organizations?
Okay. Predominantly, we are a feminist-based organization in that our primary deity is goddess. That's why we refer to women who have achieved certain levels of education as lady as opposed to just their mundane name. So we do primarily goddess, and then the God is there. It's equal but slightly less is the God. We look to nature for all of our
God. Like the moon,
Guide
the
your
sun,
direction and your guidance.
everything is a God.
And when you look at nature, you have to have man and woman for creation. But the baby doesn't come from the man. The goddess, the woman,
Is the
is the creator. And the
So what's the
God
man?
is a facilitator.
So what's the man? A facilitator?
A facilitator.
But so we're not
sure.
talking about,
Hired
you know, it's not about spells and gimmicks and all of that stuff. It's about honoring women and accepting that God isn't necessarily a man, it's a woman, and that there's nature. And I mean, I'm not really understanding what being a witch means. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, what being a witch means. For most people, it means taking back a certain level of their own personal power. The church and the mundane religions have taught them that they are at the low end of the totem pole, and they either have to go through the priest or the rabbi to communicate with God.
I always question that.
And so as a witch, you are initiated to be the priestess, to be the priest, to be in direct communication with the gods. When I do a working, which is active prayer, a spell to me is active prayer. A Christian gets down on their knees and says, "Please, God, make this happen, amen." I get up and I dance and I sing and I circle the fire and I say, "So mote it be," because now it is.
That's right. You're in control of
You're
your own destiny.
declaring that you have the power that it was provided to you
Through the gods.
through the gods,
Through
and you
the
have
gods.
entitlement of that power, and you can do whatever you need to do on earth.
That's,
You know, that's a very unique approach, because what you're doing is you're in control of your own self.
absolutely, and you are absolutely
So-
responsible
For
It's
yourself.
kind of a funny
yourself.
thought,
That's a
but
good
it
deal.
reminds me of in the, you know, the movie The Doors. Was it Val Kilmer who played Jim Morrison? Did
Yes.
anyone see the movie?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene where he gets really drugged out on LSD?
Oh,
And he does the dance with the fire.
Yes.
And he dances, or he lights a fire,
Uh-huh.
and then he dances around and he starts praying, and he's
Yes.
doing all sorts of. But he was on LSD, but it was very interesting. It was very intense, and he's got this fire in the desert, and he's dancing around, and he's praying to God, and he's doing like an Indian dance, but it's all about his prayer.
He was
with the
all
fire.
about peyote too. He was very much about.
I can't hear you.
He was about peyote.
Right, that's what it was about. When he was taking peyote, but that was the whole idea. Like this Indians, it seems similar in nature to how the Indians pray with the earth to the gods through nature. Is that a similarity?
absolutely. Very many of the of the pagan religions, whether it be the American Indians, whether it be the Hindu, whether it be the Buddhist, we all have very close
Connections to nature.
connections to nature and how we view the world.
It's just interesting that in your worlds, every religion there is definition, and her definition could be different.
That's right.
And when you use fear as a definition, it turns it into a whole different ballgame. Now, I'm interested. You call goddesses for the women. What do you call the men?
Okay, I mean, the men deities are gods.
Oh, so men are gods too?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought we
Okay.
were just schlepped in the corner.
Didn't you see
But are they
pottery?
considered warlocks, or is that just a
But isn't it
fantasy? Yes. Okay. So
That's
there are
Hollywood.
male
Harry
witches
Potter?
too.
I thought we were just insertion artists.
Didn't we see? It's the same as the Harry Potter movie. Have you seen?
No.
I haven't seen a
Oh,
lot
it's
of
not
those.
the
I've
same.
seen
No,
several
it's
of
not
them,
the
Is
same.
but
it
I
is
got
are
bored.
males part of the witch culture, or is it really
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. And in my practice, I practice balance. So when I call the goddess, I call her first, but I also call the God.
That's right.
And
Boy,
then-
you picked a great show to be on because we're talking feminists. There you go, Liz. Women rule that world, baby.
There's something I
Yes.
found online which is called the Witch Wickham. Is that what
Wickham.
is that you're like part of what you're talking about? Because I was trying to look up to find out about you, and it's called Witch Wickham, and they're saying it's sort of a it's not
Club?
about witchery, but it is a little bit about pagan basics. And I don't know how are you different than that, because there is this whole culture that calls themselves witches, and they do follow the pagan basics. And so, how do you differentiate between that?
Okay. All witches are pagans,
Yeah.
but not all pagans are
All
witches.
Can you define that?
That's a great answer.
Well, based on the mundane definition, if you're not a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew, you are a pagan.
Yeah.
So consequently, there takes in a large
Oh,
scope
of
of
course.
religions, but people that follow the Wiccan pagan path, there's a lot of them that are very strongly pagan, but they don't want to follow the dictum of witchcraft per
Being
se.
pagan is what? Is being pagan?
Being
so
pagan is very eclectic.
okay.
Being a witch has certain, I
Bound-
hate to call it
boundaries.
dogma, but it does have boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay,
But you
so
mentioned-
what about if we go into Connecticut? Do we have a music for asking, do you feel something here?
Wait, so that,
Do you
before
feel-
she
oh,
goes
come
into this,
on.
you feel something. That's what I wanted to. That's what I want to understand from you, because being a witch is still some witchcraft and spells and things like that, or is that not part of your culture?
Or do you feel things when you go
Are
into
your
a room?
spells
or
kind of
you-
like just a way of prayer and people getting together and wishing for things, or do you actually put black magic on people? I mean, is there
But why
a
do
part
you
of
keep
that?
saying that?
Because I want to understand.
I think she explained it.
No,
Yeah,
no, because
very
she
clearly.
just mentioned,
Alright.
she mentioned witchcraft just
No,
now.
she did.
Yes,
I'm a
she did.
witch.
She mentioned witchcraft.
Yes, but you keep talking about black magic. It's not.
This
in
is
her-
the first time I mentioned black magic.
Okay. Um, okay. There are good people in witchcraft, and we also attract some people that
Bad
do
people.
bad
Right,
things.
so I'm just trying to
It's in every
So-
religion.
And that's true of every religion. There are good Christians and there are Christians that do bad things.
Of course.
There are, most witches follow a doctrine of it harm none, do what you will. Either it harm none, and then the other aspect of that is the threefold law of return. If you do a negative thing out in the world, it will come back to you threefold. It may not come back in this lifetime, and that's where we get karma.
So it's a little different than karma, because it's like they're saying karma just you get what you give, but in your culture, you get it back 3 times worse.
This Christianity,
Right.
you get it back
Which is the
7 times,
triangle
7
of the
lives.
3? Is that the triangle of that 3? Because it's all about that 3, the circle of 3?
You're talking about the threefold goddess. No. The threefold law of return is if you do bad or if you do good in the world, you get that back in return. Now, the other aspect of it is it doesn't necessarily happen in this lifetime. If it does happen in this lifetime, it's called retribution.
Retribution.
If happens in your next lifetime or future lifetimes, it's reincarnation and karma.
That's right. That's why people are born the way they are. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you. Let's move on because we only have a few minutes.
Exactly.
You have a calling to do something. I know you. I wanted to get into the cleansing, which we didn't do, which I wanted to do with Connecticut, and also you have a calling. You're asking people if they want to join.
Oh
special
yeah, I'm in the position now where I will be taking on students after Beltane. Beltane is May 1st, so by the 15th of May, I'm opening up a class. I take anywhere from 4 to 10 students to teach them the basics of witchcraft. And then at the end of that class, they are at a point where they can choose to be initiated or not. But they will at least have the foundations for a good practice.
You don't have to have any kind of like casting. Let me call if you are.
I do an interview.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, okay.
And if you say no, I don't want you to be my student, or
You turn people away.
Exactly.
I have been known to turn people away. What I usually do is turn them over to another eclectic group where they will learn other things than I would teach.
So is it soul cleansing that you were talking about, Freddie?
Yeah, but we don't have time for that now. The question I wanted to touch base on, when you meet somebody,
Yes.
you can see their spirit, and you can be honest. That's a yes
Okay.
or no.
No and yes. I respond to people in terms of their aura.
Okay.
And their aura is an energy field around their body, which gives me information about that. And everybody does this. They don't realize it. Have you been in a supermarket? You're pushing your cart down the aisle and you go to turn and all of a sudden you stop.
That's right.
Absolutely.
As soon as, and you stop and you realize that you're maybe 3 inches or 6 inches from a cart that was coming at
That's
you.
right. You can sense it coming.
That's the aura. The aura hit first.
What's
Now,
the
do
difference
you-
between
do you-
aura and energy?
Well,
Nothing.
you got to go to her class to find out. You teach that, right? You teach how
Yeah.
to be in touch. You see, because I get you as a person who's really well in touch
Oh,
with
well,
herself.
thank you.
And your energy's around you, and that's part of the pagan
Culture?
culture. And it's funny because everything else comes from that. And
That's
it's funny,
true.
but I won't sit here and argue with anybody about it. Believe
I
it
think
or
it's
not,
fascinating.
it is what it is. and when is the class?
Well, I will be taking interviews after May 8th. After May 8th, I will start interviews, and the classes will start probably early June.
Fantastic. We didn't get to touch anything about what I wanted to talk about today.
Come
Because
back.
there was such a deep well.
Come back.
The cleansing, yeah, we'll bring it back.
Well, we
I
also
wanna
had a
bring it back.
half an hour with the director, so that was a lot of
Well,
time.
the bottom line here is that I wanted to talk about the cleansings that you do, and when you meet people.
I
how do you
wanted
have
to know about that. When you go into a room, do you feel presence? Do you feel stuff?
If it's particularly negative, yes.
And if you
It's
reach out
like
for
I
it, right,
wanna-
you have to sort of get in tune with it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to clarify that what you're doing is nothing to do with what people think or imagine witchery to be. It's about beauty and culture and religion and prayer, and not about this dark side that
Right.
people imagine it to be.
And nature.
Interesting.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me.
It takes a lot of positive energy to come on a radio show, a TV show, and talk about what you do. But it's fascinating.
Thank you. I'm glad
and
you
not,
enjoyed
and not to be
it.
judgmental, as we say.
At all.
Good. Excellent. All right, ladies, we have booked another show, so say your goodbyes.
Adios, amigos.
That was quick. Double T says goodbye. Vixen,
Sayonara. Been a fun one.
lady behind the glass.
Goodbye. Till tomorrow.
Till tomorrow, when the madman will be back. Everybody take a deep breath, because he will be back, and we'll see you tomorrow from 12 to 1. Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Well, that's about it for today's lunch break with two boys from Brooklyn. You're invited to join the break every day, Monday through Friday at 12 noon. So, if you missed some of the good stuff they served up today, there's more coming next time. Bring your lunch and the boys from Brooklyn will bring the smiles. And it's all live. See you next time. Now go and enjoy the rest of your day.